So Andrew and Barbara, how did you get interested about the Finnish Studies program?
I'm interested in history, and when I read about Finnish history and culture, I noticed the language is very different, and that's what was appealing to me the most.
And for myself, I'm a music student, and the Sibelius Academy in Finland is one of the most admirable music schools in the world, so I aspire to go study there one day.
And what are your future plans, Barbara?
I would like to do work in translation, and Finnish being a niche language is really appealing and is an asset to me because it's different from French or Spanish, which are more common in the world.
How did you get interested about Finnish?
I spent a year working and living in Finland, and during that time I picked up a lot of language and culture that I didn't want to lose when I came back to Canada.
And what are your future plans?
I was actually thinking about returning to the Finnish company at which I worked, and so having Finnish as a language would be really helpful.
How did you become interested about studying Finnish?
Because I'd like to maintain the cultural connection to my heritage. My dad's side of the family is Finnish.
And what do you think is the impact of the program to your life?
Well, I think it makes a big impact because it's the only program of its kind in Canada. Finnish Studies is at U of T, the only one in Canada, and therefore it's really valuable for me.
And what was your favorite course?
My favorite course was the Finnish-Canadian immigrant experience because I really enjoyed learning about the history of Finnish immigrants to Canada and their experiences, and the life that they had was very different than my own today.
And what do you think the impact of the program is to your personal life?
Well, personally, I would like to pursue a career in the field of immigration. So for me, learning Finnish studies is valuable for my career.
So, Marco, why did you get interested about the Finnish Studies program?
Well, I listened to a lot of Finnish music and I just fell in love with the language.
And how did Finnish Studies program change your life? What are your aspirations for your future?
Well, my aspirations are to be a diplomat, and I think that having another language would be really helpful since I already have a multicultural background and a multilingual one.
Je suis une étudiante française de Paris et j'étudie le finnois parce que quand j'avais 5 ans, j'ai été en Finlande et c'est un des premiers souvenirs de ma vie.
So what was the impact of the course you took?
The impact of Finnish short stories was very significant for me as a student who is not in Finnish studies. I study Polish literature, and seeing the wealth of cultural texts from such a young culture over a space of 150 years is astonishing. And really, I got to see a wide variety of texts that I wouldn't have otherwise come across in a Western university.
Isara, how did you get interested about Finnish and Finnish culture?
Both my favorite hockey player and band are Finnish.
Who is your favorite hockey player?
Tukaras.
And the favorite band?
Him.
And tell me about your favorite course. What was your favorite course?
I really like the variety that the Finnish short story course offered because it didn't just focus on nationalist or modern. It had different styles and different time periods.
Manson, what got you interested about the Finnish Studies program?
I was very interested in Scandinavian history, its culture and its languages when I was young after I read about Norse mythology.
Yeah. And what do you think is the impact of the Finnish Studies to your life?
Having to study in Finland for 3 weeks sort of enables me to see the lifestyles of the Finns and the culture they have, and to me they are very nice people to work with. I would love to live there and work in there, perhaps even pursue a Finnish citizenship in the future.
I liked the courses so much that I took them all, and I ended up with a BA and a major in Finnish Studies. And it also inspired me to become a writer. And I'm presently working on my second novel, and it's all thanks to my exposure to Finnish Studies.
Miksi opiskelet suomea? Minä aloin opiskella suomea, koska minä halusin osata suomea. On outoa olla suomalainen mutta ei osata suomea, varsinkin jos sinulla on molemmat suomalaisetunimi ja sukunimi. Minä halusinkin puhua suomea minun isän kanssa ja minä voin nyt. Meillä ei ollut paljon yhteistä aikaisemmin, mutta nyt meillä on suomea.
The Finnish Studies program provided me with an opportunity to engage in an in-depth case study of Finland through courses related to literature, folklore, cinema, language, and history. Beyond that, I got to engage in more contemporary debates of Finnishness and about Finland's role in the broader global community through one of my favorite courses, actually, the Finnish Canadian Immigrant Experience. And then my experience was further enhanced by a year at the University of Helsinki, where among other classes, I got to learn about minority language rights for Swedish-speaking Finns and for the Sami. And I learned about issues that weren't dissimilar to ones from my own background as a French-speaking Canadian from outside of Quebec. But that's needless to say that these issues are not just pertinent to Canada and Finland, but are really relevant around the world. Throughout my time as an undergraduate student, I really heard to no end, what are you going to do with a degree in Finnish Studies and Equity Studies? Well, I'm proud to say that after graduation, I returned to my home community, and like was mentioned, I actually developed a program for newcomers and immigrants, and I was able to apply the things that I had learned about culture and heritage and the experience of the Finnish diaspora in rural parts of Canada when reaching out to newcomers in my own rural community. So I currently live in Scotland. I moved there to join my husband Juuso, and I'm working on a PhD in Human Resource Management at the University of Strathclyde in Glasgow. My present research is about the employment transitions of displaced public sector workers, and I have to say that research has really been shaped by my background in Finnish studies. I've continued to read extensively about Finnish institutions and the Finnish welfare state, and because what my research is really about is that interaction between institutions and individuals, and Finland's a great example of that.
What is the impact of the Finnish Studies program?
When you think of the fact that it was 1989 when it started and it's still going strong, it's quite an accomplishment for a very small community which has been so active in keeping it going, and especially in these days of dwindling government support. It's just amazing how the SISU of Finns is part of the project of keeping a vibrant program in Toronto, which of course also is almost like our calling card. It gives the community a public venue to make itself known to, and its culture known to ordinary Canadians who can just come and join, which is the beautiful thing about it.